cheeks. I love it. She's like, her luxurious hair. Ugh. I'm Taro Stash. Thank you for being here. And please remember that this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance. Really, it's safer that way. JJ, how are you? What's up?
I'm good. My kiddo Finn takes me wonderful places. So we're going to Utah after this. We're getting in the car, we're driving to Utah, and we're going to go to Anthro Weekend, which is for the people who know what furries are. It's like a mascot, and my kid loves making those and loves the community. And so we're going to go there for a long weekend. And we're going to go to all of these workshops. It's going to be so much fun.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
No.
Love it. I love it. And the amazing Karen, how are you? What's going on with you?
I am doing good. I am doing a lot of private parties and personal readings. And I would like to say rebranding, but I think more like going back to my old brand and Sage Healers and doing a lot of that stuff. So I'm really excited about the changes that are coming. My business is starting to pick up here in
Beautiful.
New Hampshire. So I'm excited.
Beautiful. Miss Charlotte wants to know, how long of a drive is it, JJ?
5 easy hours. It's nothing complicated about it, except maybe it's going to be really hot. So
Yeah.
but yeah, just a soup. I'm used to driving, so it's going to be really, really easy and good. Yeah.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing very well. Got lots of great shows lined up, and glad that we were able to get the three of us together to talk about light language again.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to remind everybody to like, share, and subscribe. It's free. All of the channel links are below. And all three of us do private readings. So if you want an in-depth reading, please contact us. So I would like to be doing more of those. So it's cool. And we have the best chatters. We have the best lurkers. We have the work lurkers, and we have the future lurkers. So all of those people are here. We have Kaylee, Fogo Pogo, Richie's Reach, Sue Toffee, Bratu, Miss Charlotte. We have Deanne, Blue Crescent Tarot. We have Joyful Journey, Jen. We have the American Mutt. Good to see you. And we have Jonathan Daly. We have Free Spirit. Ice Wolf 2844, Peace Mama, and Dancing Soul Sister, and a Crochet Lurker, yes. And Midnight Apothecary and Bakery is here, so thank you everybody for joining us. So since it's been a while, we're going to, we started this because it was an exploration of light language and what light language is and how it evolves. I'm going to put JJ on the spot. JJ, what's light language?
Okay. I'm going to get closer.
She didn't know I was going to do that, everybody. So there you go.
I'm going to get closer to my microphone because it's acting weird. But light language to me is utilizing hopefully something that you're passionate about. In a way, it's a way of channeling, whether it is a spoken language, sign language, movement, symbols, art, sound. It's something that helps you access like your inner light, your soul light is the best way to describe it right now. And it's really neat to use it on yourself and nature, and it's perfectly fine to keep it to yourself if that's how you know, how you want to do it. But if you also want to share it with others, it's something that you might notice. You know how you listen to a sound and it really accesses your emotions or help you relax or help you release. That's light language to me. Is it's something that can just go in there and finds a back door to open something up.
That's beautiful.
And that's my mom. Hi, Mom.
Karen, what would you like to add to that?
I would like to add that even though it's called light language, there are many, many forms. It could be music, poetry. It could be in colors. It could be symbols. It could be, you know, just like JJ was saying, that kind of connects you to spirit, connects you to the energy per se. And you don't, when it's spoken or sung, they say, you don't necessarily have to understand it. I mean, it's not something that, there are times where some people can say it and say what it means in English, but sometimes it's just what you're, it's almost like a soul connection. And also, each person hears that language a different way. Because some people will be like, oh, well, that means this in a different language or this in a different language. And if you do have light language, I would invite you to use, I did it, use the Google app and just pick some, let it like pick words out and say it. And I was kind of amazed at some of the words that I was saying actually were from different languages. So that was really, it was really cool to me.
That's great.
What does it mean to you, Gerald?
Well, you know, when we started this, you know, in show one, I was like, well, I don't have light language. So I'm sharing these space with these two amazing people who have light language. Well, what I discovered is that my light language comes in the form of symbols. In particular, when I'm accessing Akashic records and very ancient information. So light language for me is it's ancient, it's old, it is very clear, and it takes many different forms. It's just providing us information to things that we may have forgotten and we are rediscovering. So, and it's a wonderful thing because it the idea for me of, you know, you can watch it on the playback of me like having that moment of like, what? I mean, it was like, holy crap. Okay. Yeah. It just may not, it is just something that it helps me to understand what information is coming through, and it validates it. And I think we all have access to that if we're so inclined.
I want to, if you don't mind me interrupting you, pogo, yes. There are clicking sounds. There are chirping bird sounds. There are, they're telling me about this one guy that does dragon light language. I think that one of the main things is, as weird as it may be coming in, is just accept it and let it flow. The more you let it flow, the more you will receive. So be open to it and just allow it to flow through you, no matter how it comes out. You know, it may resonate. You know, there's a lot of it on YouTube, and you may resonate with some and some you may not. You know, some you may not be able to hear, and you've just got to click it off because it doesn't sound good to you. That's okay. You know, that's not your language per se, I guess you could say. You know, that's not meant for you. So if it doesn't feel good to your ears, don't listen to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like radio stations. Like back in the day when we had the radio stations.
Yes, when you actually had to turn the dial to be able to get it. So, you know, but And Jen T says morning 11:11 in Texas.
Woot woot.
And
Nice.
Kiba is here. And This American Mutt said music of all kinds, philosophy quotes, the sound of water that hits the rocks at a river or creek, hearing fire crackle in the woods, even though the fire is right in front of me.
Perfect.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, so there's a lot of it. And one of the things that we were talking about backstage, thinking about what are we going to talk about? And I'm going to say, Karen, did you want to talk about did you want to talk about what we're going to talk about?
Talk about what you're going to talk about.
Yeah. And well, okay. And so, this morning Mutt said feeling the heaviness in a room too loud. Yes, that can be an experience. Medium Betsy Palmer said different dialects. That makes sense because there are so many beings communicating with us. Very true. Very true. So
we talked about so much backstage that were you writing it down?
I was. Would you like some help? Because we were talking about there's
please.
this idea of there's a lot of chaos that is going on, a lot of chaotic energy that's happening, but also there's this sense of upgrades going on. And so there's this sense of there's things going on outside of us that are different than the things that are going on inside of us. So there's this importance of recognizing what is ours and what's going on in the environment. And that, go for it.
So I think one of the things when we were talking, and for those of you that don't know me, how it kind of jumps in. So when somebody's talking, it jumps in, and I had literally a spine chill feeling that for some of us, not all of us, but for some of us, the reason why this feels so chaotic and I forgot the word that I used, but so chaotic and so stressful and all of these things is because there was, as a collective, and they are giving me the example of Atlanteans. So when Atlantia was going through their shift and going through their change, there's a lot of us that were in that time period where we remember as a soul this ending, and this fear is kind of attached in with this. And so all of this is starting to feel the same way. Everything that's going on the outside of us, those that know me know I don't watch the news, so I don't know what's going on. But there's a lot of chaos out there that reminds us of that time when this happened and it was an ending. And I want to bring in what JJ said. What JJ said, which was, we have to remember. Do you remember what part you said, JJ? Because that was really beautiful. Embryos.
Yeah. Tuta, my helpers, they were on Monday. They did this really interesting journey, so to speak. And they were talking about how, we can really get down in these times of, things going on politically, things going on with nature, with the flooding and the fires and the smoke and the this and the that, and upheaval in individual ways as well, like jobs and houses and whatnot. But they were talking about how it's just a nice reminder that we used to be an embryo, and look how much we've grown so far. And look at all of the things that we were challenged with, and here we are now. And it's not saying that we don't have any challenges right now, but we really figured it out when we needed to. Did it take us a while? Maybe. Did we need extra help? Yes. And just to know too that one thing one thing you're really urging today to speak about is that those feelings of feeling alone, like for instance, I think probably a few people have felt this before when you have like a bunch of loved ones around you or people. It's like, did you ever feel like you were still alone, even if you were like in a room full of people, if you had family around you? And they really want to, spirits just really coming in and saying that not only have we been an embryo and we're this age now with all the challenges that we've swam through and walked through and ran through and jumped through, hidden from occasionally,
Mhm.
that we are not alone when we find our people, and that's what this community is like here. This beautiful online community is that we have each other's backs. And if somebody reaches out to me, they're in the chat, you know, we have each other.
Yeah.
And that's really helpful when we have those feelings of being alone, or the chaos is a little too much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Bratu said, does this indicate that many Atlanteans are here at this time to learn from this lesson?
Yeah, you got a big yes on that from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And part of it is um part of the lesson is it's not going down the way it was last time, and so there is a lot of regrowth and a lot of change and a lot of things happening, but it won't end the same way. And this leads to what we were also talking about behind the scene, which was all too often people manifest by default. And
Mhm.
we need to be very, very careful in manifesting by default, which is you're so worried about. Well, let me start it off this way. Stagnancy, manifesting stagnancy is by saying, when is this going to happen? It's never going to happen. I'm still sitting here. I'm waiting for this. What you don't realize is you're manifesting stagnancy because you don't look at the bigger picture back there. You're just
Sure.
focusing, you're standing here. Now, on the negative side of that is being so concerned with, oh, they literally show me Johnny Appleseed. Oh, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. The sky didn't fall, an apple fell. But the problem is we're doing that now. All this negative, negative, negative. We're so concentrated on all these negatives that could possibly go wrong that we're actually putting more negative out there.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. What we say matters, how we say it matters, and where we focus our attention matters, because that's what we get more of. That's what we are telling we're telling the universe. I want more
Yeah.
of this. So I love that idea of Mr. Rogers talking about his mother, saying when there's times of crisis, his mother said, notice the heroes.
Love that.
And I love that. We need to do more of that, because instead of focusing our attention on what we don't want, focus the attention and notice what we are seeing that is resonating with us. And Karen, you were talking about cellular memory or soul knowledge,
Yeah.
and how we're having a different outcome this time.
Yeah. And that also steps into, um, that soul knowledge of being, and I say Atlanteans, but understand that there are other, like, not all of us are Atlanteans. There's other groups out here that went through the same exact thing.
Mhm.
Um, they just say unnamed. So to us, they're
Yep.
unnamed. I love that. Mayans and Aztecs, exactly. It's like, those had their lessons and their purposes, and now we're here. Um, they're giving me the bridge again. So later on, we'll talk about the bridge. And when we do this thing later on, this bridge is going to also talk about, what was that? The double helix. So we're going to be focused on the bridge and the double helix again. But there are, I always say, upgrades that are happening and coming. And I think that people have this automatic response to change. Change is scary and change is different. And so it brings up some really core things, they're also telling me, and sometimes when those we know changes are going to happen, you want to go back to where you were safest and where you were the best.
Because it's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's what we know. Because when change happens, it's this adjustment period of the transition from the old way to the new way of being can be a real challenge for a lot of us.
Exactly. So I would invite everyone to look at the positives in all of this. And if you truly can't see the positive, then imagine a positive outcome. Imagine positive things happening for you in the next few years, because there are a lot of upgrades or changes, or the veil's getting thinner, or whatever you want to call it. I'm literally watching spirit guides handing over letters going, here you go, this is your new thing. You get light language. You get,
Yeah. You get light language. You get light language. Yes.
It's like, you get light language. You get your, stronger emotions by your body. You hear this. It's like we are all going to be handed these things. And it's you're only, this is going to sound really weird when I say this, and them telling me this, I'm telling them that's going to sound really weird when I say this, but take it for what it's worth. Your only duty to that is to acknowledge it and to step forward into that. It doesn't have to look like, I always say your spidey senses kick in. If your spidey senses kick in, you don't have to go over here and read cards or do what the next person's doing. You can just be that beacon of light that does it for yourself and for those around you. But those of us that are being called, it's the time is to step into it.
Yeah, because I was in a live last night where people were talking about this. There's so much things coming, and as empaths, we get a sense of that. But it's important for us to know what is ours, what is my experience, and what is someone else's, because we have to understand what is mine and what is someone else's, because that really helps us to stay true to who we are and to be able to connect that way. JJ is smiling. Yes, JJ?
First of all, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here with this conversation. And Miss Charlotte said the Oprah God. It's
the Oprah God.
You get this and you get that.
Yep.
But meanwhile, I have, like, in the background here, I've got them showing me, like, there's several things they're showing me is, do you guys remember when we didn't know how to roll over as children? Like, no.
No, I was like, well, I don't know.
Did we figure it out?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Do you remember the first thing they showed me is, like, being in the community pool, and you're hanging on to the edge and you're like, I think I can swim to the other side. I think I can. And it's like, we didn't know how to, like, I took swim lessons, and in Vermont it was painful because it's freaking cold. It was terrible, just to let you know. You really wanted to swim because you're going to freeze to death. But, you're holding on to that edge and you're looking and you're just like, and I didn't always make it to the other side because I was learning.
Yes.
And but it's that urge of, it's not like somebody was kicking me off the, the side. It's like, I just really wanted to be like over there, and I really wanted to do that. And so they're showing me all this funny stuff, but they also want me to ask Gerald, coming from the Akashic record side of things, what is it that you want me to ask him? It has something to do with either DNA or something it is that our soul almost like our Northern Star DNA type thing. They would like to know if you have anything from the Akashic records that would like to share anything about either like maple trees and tapping into that inner sap or something to those regards about these upgrades that Karen was talking about, and Lemuria, Atlantis, those sorts of things.
So what's interesting is right now, a lot of the symbols that I experience when I look at the collective Akashic records, they're pixelated. And it's not because they are too close to them. It's just we haven't finished integrating these upgrades. So there's almost like we have to do a Control-Alt-Delete and reset, or we have to shut down and restart. We have to clear the cache. And this is part of that. Part of it right now is we have to remember to take care of this physical body that we are currently in. We have to get enough rest. We have to manage we have to nourish ourselves appropriately. We have to, and water is a huge gift. Make sure that we're, taking enough hydration, because all of that energy can't move through. Yeah, it's a huge, it's a conductor of energy. Yes, the reboot. Yes, it's the reboot. We have to do that. And that reboot, everybody does it differently, and that's okay. It is important that it is done at some level consciously when we're in this community, that people do it differently, and it's just important that we do it, because that helps us to. Oh, I got this nice little image, the Three of Pentacles. It means that each of us are responsible for our little circle, our little energy. And by doing that, it's, if you as an individual do it, you take care of yourself and you do that reset, that reboot, you're benefiting everybody.
Yeah.
So this isn't an isolated thing.
And Gerald, there's some questions that if you could go through and start, and then we could hit that later.
Sure.
So I would agree. The minute you said pixelated and the reboot, those are the two words that really stood out, because it is pixelated reboot. And then somebody made a comment about old ancestral stuff coming up, and that's exactly it. Because it's almost like I see, pixelated, and it looks to me.
Yeah, going back to the old spirit skills to teach it.
Yeah, it's almost like the pixelation was here, and these are pixelated, but in between is the old stuff, and so it comes to bridge it all, and it's rather cool to see and to watch, and I would definitely agree with you, Gerald, when you said it's like be cognizant of what you're doing, and to bring those things up to the forefront. And it's so personal in how it works for each one of you. So what may work for me does not work for JJ and Gerald.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I have found that I am definitely need to detach, step away from everything and everybody and just do me. By the way, did you notice I brought my natural color back?
Good.
Because that was, you know, that's I realized that was one of the ways that, I mean, it's almost like I had forgotten that was one of the ways that I connect by, you know, doing my hair and putting different colors in. And that was another goofy way. It doesn't work for everybody, but it works for me. So I'll just do it, you know?
Well, and I think it's really important. It doesn't matter how you do it.
Yeah.
It matters that you do it.
Do it. Because, and Gerald said this on one of his shows a few weeks ago, where if you're not doing it when spirit is giving you the signs and showing you, then what ends up happening is they'll just go to somebody else.
Yep.
You know, they'll give those gifts to someone else who is going to pay attention to the signs, you know?
Yeah.
So even if, you know, if today we were on a hike and I saw a feather of I think it was a bluebird or blue jay or something like that. And I was like, ooh. And I wanted to pick it up, but that it wasn't for me to pick it up. And all I said was, thank you, give me more. Because to me, feathers are signs. And we went blueberry picking. And next thing you know, there was a turkey feather. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Give me more. We went to the beach. There were 2 more feathers. And those acknowledgments, however you think that spirit speaks to you, as long as you're acknowledging going, ooh, give me more, they're going to give you more. It's when you don't pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Did I answer your question, JJ?
Yeah, you did. And I don't even know if you needed to say anything out loud. It was just you connecting to whatever it is they needed you to connect to.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it because I was like, and I was totally in it. I don't remember what I said. So There we go.
I was just like, wait, did I say something?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so we've had more people who have joined us, and it's great to see so many people here. Thank you. I'm going to go through some of the comments. Terry at Holding Your Space. It's all out there in the collective consciousness. We all have everything we need. Love this conversation. Mm-hmm. Yes. And yeah, love the conversation. Okay, so I'm going to the starred comments. Ian said a while ago, Dr. Andrea Dent said, being able to communicate in light language is a gift that we all possess and should be seriously an ancient and futuristic form of communication.
Yep.
And Kaylee asked the question, have you all been hearing that too? Humans are becoming more crystalline. I keep hearing this from various people.
I think this is just what my guides show me, is that there's a little bit of miscommunication in the aspect of we're not going to turn into crystals.
JJ's leaving now. She said,
I'm done. I don't like, you're not, they literally show me one person that's literally crystal. It's like, you're not going to turn into crystals. It's that crystalline, I wish I had the verbiage for it, but yes and no. Yes, it's happening, but we're not going to walk around being crystals because, I'd be an amethyst. So.
Yeah. And, people are upset, I wanted to sparkle like vampires, but vampires do not sparkle.
No. And they're pale and can't go out in the sun. And
yeah. Well, and Miss Charlotte says, doesn't that refer to the pineal gland?
Yeah.
Isn't that a crystal?
Yeah.
Could be. That's, that's perhaps a, maybe that's a future show. because I've got somebody else who needs to join us too. And, crystals do not, vampires do not sparkle. Crystal Carrington. So, you get that reference, or are you too young?
I don't get it.
I could Google it real fast. I don't think I'm too young, but I could Google it.
All right. So Jonathan said we're still in the process of restarting the operating system. Just heard that loudly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are. We really are. I mean, I think all too often, I mean, they've been showing me for the last 2 years that our double helix, what do you call that? I always forget the name.
Double helix. Yeah. Double helix.
Like we're the chromosomes, we're not actually using all. They're just saying we have one more that's not been turned on or sparked up, and we need to put those the car battery thing, we need the jumper cables, the DNA. Thank you.
DNA. Yep. Yeah.
I think they're called inclusions on crystals, where there'll be the water.
Mm-hmm.
And my people are showing me that
record keepers.
We have the inclusions of the old ways, and we can look at it and we can be like, open up. But there's something about it's like seeing that crystal inclusion, the inclusion in our crystalline energy, so to speak. And instead of trying to figure out like how to open that up in the crystal so you can access it, it's it's like that water can speak to our water. It's something about, I don't know about osmosis so much, but there is something about the process of it's like when the tree sucks up through the roots the liquid. It's not just that liquid enhances or changes the tree itself. It's a like a synergy. So when we think about looking at that inclusion of the ancient things, and it is like a remembering that somebody said, like remembering the old ways. And it's just not like there's this old way to interact with or open up to. It's that it's really cool that we have, it's almost like we have a key or something to tune to that as well. So it's not just like, hey, I have this old ancient stuff I'd like to access. It's like, oh, I have a piece of the key.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. It's I was the person who, when I first started looking at crystals, and people would tell me, "Oh, look at those inclusions; those are record keepers." And of course, when I would look at them, I would zoom in and I would get a whole lot of information, and then typically that crystal would have to go home with me. Purchase responsibly, know your limits. Oh, here, we're here to share, not to sell. But activation is very different. So
yeah.
But respect the old ways. Yep. And trees share water. If one needs one, the root system will feed it.
They are showing me, I had a feeling this was going to be a playful conversation. It's almost the more they love trees. So it's like the more the tree like plays and interacts with the wind, the more that we open up to those things. So it's like if we're in the woods and we're dancing and the wind is blowing us, and it's like you pretend you're like one of those things outside the car dealership. You know, like one of
Oh,
those.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
There's something about like laughter and being playful, and just for yourself, like not for others, just for yourself. Like,
Because when we are our most authentic selves, when we are doing that, we're benefiting the whole. And when we celebrate people being their most authentic self, that there's space for everything. Karen, are you okay? What do you need? Yep, she's good. So I want to go through some other things, and because John Smith said, speaking of water, do any of you guys speak over your water?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was my mother and my father were Rosicrucians. And it's not something that I tell a lot of people, but at a very young age, I was taught to speak over my water and send energy to my water and to my food. So it is something that I do quite often. So yes, 100%.
Yeah. Thank you, John, for that. And Jane said, bless your water before you drink it. Yep. There's a whole lot of things to do with that. Here's a little bit of promotion on Tuesday. I am actually having a laugh and learn with Tanis Coughlin from the Twillo Lifestyle Community, where we are talking about water. So some of this stuff will be covered. Cool. So yeah, and interesting. JJ said water from the trees. I've seen people cut into trees and springs of water shoot out.
Fantastic.
Yep.
I got goosebumps.
Yep. Yeah. Aqualid, Rossi, that will be included. So yeah, it's time to bloom. This is very important. And permeability of everything connection. Yes. Hi, Sharon Foster, by the way. Okay, so Richie's Reach is so the light language is a tool or a bridge for you to connect to an ancient. I mentioned that because we were talking about the bridge and the double helix in the DNA. So I'm going to take a sip of water. So who needs? I mean, we're at 43 minutes in. So Karen, when we first started, said we were going to be doing something at the end. Is this at the end, Karen?
The end is near.
The end is. Oh, that's right. You got to go to Utah.
Utah.
Yes. JJ, do you want to start it, or do you want me to start it?
I actually kind of feel like it's the three of us plus the community all doing it at the same time, but you're doing the spoken stuff, and I got my people are ready. I got goosebumps everywhere.
Okay. And so what can the community do, JJ? Help let's point a direction for the community and for people who are watching the playback.
Yeah,
because they're still adding to it. So
yeah,
give some
a really
direction.
fun thing to do is, if you don't know what an inclusion in a crystal looks like, think of it as maybe have you ever seen amber, and like how they like have a mosquito or something in amber, or even something silly like the pens where you go like this and like an airplane flies with the pen. Like anything you can think of that is encased, like some sort of liquid or ambiotic fluid or something that's in something. We're just gonna think about that, and whatever it is you guys come up with is perfect, whether you're focusing on what we're doing or focusing on what you yourself individually are doing. This is going to be great.
Yeah, and I will add in that it is so, do what your heart and your soul tells you to do, but there's also going to be a starting of a meditation, and they're showing me what this looks like. So I will present that, and you put yourself wherever you need to put yourself. Okay. So I'm going to describe a scene to you. So I would ask that you get comfortable. Don't get too comfy where you fall asleep, but I want you to envision something that is very beautiful and peaceful to you, a place outside. And it could be the beach, it could be, it could be the mountains, wherever you choose it to be. They automatically put a few of you as columns, so your columns, you're holding that space, you're the outside. They wanted to put, let's put it like this. If you feel like that there is a roof on this, go ahead and put one in there. And just stand in that space. Imagine these beautiful twinkling lights coming down. Atue me iknu ushana ata umbraktu efeta ukna eshene eteme eruka. Imagine this bridge. Doesn't matter where it's at. Just imagine this bridge, and you can walk on it. You can have it come into your heart, however you choose it to be. But this bridge is going to be that double helix that we spoke of. Akna ete shewe et abruktua. Eshene ut. Ama akna asono oto shuno okta. Efeta aknu ushana umbraktu efata utawe emetnuta umbraktu atuknotu ukne eshene uta amabrasono ota. Just imagine everything around you getting stronger. That double helix is brightening up. Ukna esene ete efata ukna akne esene utama bratua senek ekt. JJ, take it away. JJ's doing her thing. Akna esene utawe utera tuwe. Go ahead, JJ. And you're on mute. There you go.
Aku. Kwa anu tutoka mako eshetete na tukama ko yewa the great weaving. Amatiopa ono pa kutia panui ashta talko yawa, making the recipe. Otita matui ye tita, the grounding of the corn. Atuki anu apatiano, and the wind plays the part. It picks up. Otiti amaku atitama pako ashetia nue apa ono tu papako natia ashtata makuyewa, the great weaving. Tuinama kushtita pakuyewa, from tutoma koshewa, your knowing. Onatoka yatu mama ko eshewa anye nama uya tia takoi yano tiana ko patito no mama ishtata koyewa nui ashtata. So nice having Gerald here with his knowledge to tako na the access yano, the key holder. Ashe tia nama ko eshewa. Greetings, Gerald. Yato kashe ya Okunitititita oshewa. If anyone could open the door in the tree. Otutita namapapaka eshatia. Matuya mapapatia ma istitata mapapo. Mapapakuma oshewa. How wonderful to open up the tree, to travel through the root system. Atu takuiwa. Matui. Oh, Koshiwa, the places we can go. Ka onkiano tititi. Moshtata koyatiama tituto mama kyotiawa. You think you're one person, everyone. Tutoma pakushiwa, but all of the roots. Yetya, yetya. We go so many places all the time. Akashitya. So think about your roots. Akoyanui, the ones you're unaware of. Atya papakoyewa. Yanui tamaye takushewa. Kuna 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 kuna. Is there a quiet place where the roots go? This beautiful sacred pool within the earth, within you, within the universe. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Go to that quiet place where the stars are in the water. Atutia, momoku, yetito mapatia, makushewa. Maybe the ones with the clicking voice reside there. Kuya tanotia tio tio. Aye namajewa. Would you like to dip your finger or your toe, or your nose, or your ear in this beautiful water? Otiano, is it wet even? This most beautiful nectar of life. Uyano, if you touch it with your finger. Oh, yetia are the ripples. Kosheta, kosheta, kosheta. Spend a few moments here. Naku, naku. Akuyawano, yetiaka. While we're here in this beautiful place where the roots lead, somewhere we're aware that the sun rises and falls, rises and falls, rises and falls. The time, atutoma, somewhere else, not here. Ato, ato, ato.
Take some deep breaths in and out, in and out. Thank the guides. Thank whatever you saw, whatever experience you had. Amabraktuek te ishine utama ara efeta aknu utishnet. Start feeling your body. Bring your soul back down into your body as you get comfortable. Start feeling your toes and your fingers. And come on back to us.
But I don't want to.
You have to.
All right, Gerald, your turn.
What's really important is that we understand it's time to refresh that fabric that we have. It's time to change the bed linen, to take the rugs that we have around, whether we are walking on them, they are adorning our environment, they're keeping us safe. It's important for us to take them outside, to shake them off, to move them in a way that gets the detritus of the past and the history and the future and these expectations that we have. We need to shake it up. We need to allow that to leave, allow the breeze, the wind to carry it on, so that we can allow this fabric, the pages of our Akashic records, to have sunlight on them, and to allow the energy to, it's like restoring a painting. We have to remove all of the dirt from these years and years of these symbols. We have to, if you've ever seen painting restoration, the before and after and the during, it's amazing. And it's so important for us to allow and to take that time to remove that, and to allow others to help us do that, to take the time and to have the patience to manifest that and to make it happen, because then we can see the symbols and the messages much more clearly. And it's nobody's fault. It's just what happens. Just take the time to put it out, to allow that, if you wanted to bleach white fabric, you did it by putting it outside in the sun and allowing that sun to enlighten it. So there's this, it's a deep cleanse, yes. And taking it layer by layer. And by the way, this can take some time, but it's important because as we're in this bridge of this helix, this double helix, and it's genetic, because we're working in the past and the present and the future all at once. All at once.
I love that because they're showing me hanging the rug up and the beating of it with the stick or whatnot. And it is I don't know if multi-generational is the right thing. I feel like everybody in the village takes a turn. And I don't know if the way I'm seeing it is it's like everybody I've ever been, just going in and taking a turn, whether it's young, whether it's old.
It's everyone needs to participate at the level they can participate. It's everyone touching it in some way, because then they are part of it. So,
and so I would add in that if some of you, whether you're on here right now or will be on here later, may experience, they're showing me timelines. And so timelines are doing this number and coming back. And so if for some reason some of you have timeline, it's like watching these two tubes come in like this, and then they go back out. So if some of you experience those kinds of things, be gentle with yourself, acknowledge what they are, and say, okay, I get this, that this is a timeline. And it could be things like, haven't I already done this? Or I already felt this already, or I've already done this. Or just a knowing, just understand that could very much well is happening currently. These timelines are coming like that. So, yeah.
But uncovering, I keep seeing these, the woven pieces in these rugs, the rugs that we've treaded over, the ones that are hanging on the wall that have a story, like how the teepees had the story on them. These are deep, meaningful, and it's like there's something about the threads when we go in and we do this big dust off, or this big cleansing type thing, where I'm seeing the thread is actually, the one I'm seeing is metal, like it's almost as if the weaving is in a way electric or frequency, which is a really beautiful way to think about it. But they're also saying a great way to start, if you're not sure where to start, I think they're talking directly to me, is clutter. We've talked about dusting.
Dusting.
I know not of what you speak. What?
What?
Every possible counter space I have in my home has something on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you should see this table on the second shelf, girl.
Oh my god. My video is up because my floor has too much shit on it.
There you go.
RV, the dragonfly, said, this morning while in my hot tub, I saw myself swimming and slowly spinning in a double helix.
Ooh.
And lighting the steps as I went along. Loving light. I don't know much about it, but about the helix. And yesterday I took my round rug out, washed it, and beat it. Amazing how it works.
Love it.
Yeah.
And they're like, play some Michael Jackson. Beat it. Beat it.
Well, I mean, you mentioned that individual thread because somebody told me at one point, and I my apologies for who told me this, and I don't remember, but one Akashic record reader sees individuals' records are a single thread in the fabric and of life. Just pay attention to your thread.
Yeah.
You don't have to be worrying about what everybody else is doing. Stay in your own thread, stay on your own page, because you do your stuff. It benefits everybody.
Yep.
Oh, and somebody, the American Mutt, I really wanted to talk about how that was a very potent batch of all of us, and it was very quick. It was a little too much for me too. I just want to let you know that.
This one, I'm not used to this language. It's a lot to take in.
It is.
Yeah, this one was I don't know if it was because I would agree it hit me pretty hard too. Most of the time I'm not chattering the whole time like I was. This was very potent. This was really intense. And they said there was a purpose in that, because they're literally one of my guides like kicked open a door. And then some other will feel it not so intense. So yeah, even us, we felt that, so.
And Betsy was saying, wow, downloads for days. So yeah. So yep. A lot of, yep. Lots of information. Yeah. Releasing the stale energy. So, wow.
And what Liz said too, don't tangle your threads with other threads, which is, when I read that, they were like, it's really interesting because, okay, they're showing it to me in several ways. First of all, I feel as if like our threads have that thing like where people talk about auras around somebody. It's almost as if I see our threads coming through, but there's also like this almost kind of like a wide berth where nothing could, even though it looks like we might, be like wound around something. They're like, it's okay because there's this like almost like an anti-tangle space around us, which is so lovely to do this beautiful woven dance in and out of things. And they're like, this is something that happens in nature a lot that we may notice or we may not notice. When they're talking about the roots from the weeds that we sow, the so-called weeds and the flowers and the but it's so neat to get as close as we can to somebody else's thread, but there is also like an anti-tangle thing about it.
The Jane brings up the red thread of life.
Oh, okay.
Untangle yourself from that which no longer serves.
Ooh.
And I think, and a big thing about untangling things is sometimes the best way to untangle is to not pull it. It's to actually set it down and to get above it so that you can actually see where the tangle happens, because oftentimes it's not where we think it is. Don't try to pull it. When I know people who they're trying to deal with yarn or thread, first thing they do is, well, let's just pull it. No, just put it down. Yeah.
No patience.
And I'm the person who was at the shop who had to help you unwind that, so that if you didn't want to break it, you've got to actually pull it and stretch out. So it's like,
so cutting it all is not good.
well, no, I didn't say that. Cutting it is one way to do it, but you've got a lot of mending to do.
This is true. Don't cut.
Well, I would say cut when you need to.
Okay. Cut when, yes, that's true. Cut when you need
to.
I just go to my mom or I have one kiddo that's really good. I'm like, Lola, help me. Mom, help me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. This has been wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This has been truly incredible. So
Gerald, what do you have going on, like shows and stuff like that?
Well, I have on Monday, I'm doing some readings with Ken and Bobby. Tuesday, I have that Laugh and Learn with Tanis talking about water.
Okay.
And I think that's going to be a very interesting thing. I've got all sorts of fun shows coming up. So subscribe to the channel. I do promote it on the community tab.
Okay.
So,
JJ, what do you got going on?
Usually on Mondays, I do Reiki and a journey. And it's most Mondays. And that's at 9:00 Pacific time. My channel is called Tuta Speaks. We also have go over and like and subscribe to each of our channels for upcoming things, because things can be spontaneous as well.
Yep.
But we do this really great thing called the healing ceremony, and I believe it's on the 27th. It's coming up again, where there's a group of us who I think the minimum amount is $11. You sign up for it. It's on Zoom. It's a lot of what occurred here today, and it's pretty fantastic. Getting together as a community. There's really nothing that you need to do except for show up and be comfortable and maybe have a journal. So the healing ceremony will be happening again. So
nice.
Yeah.
And Karen, what do you have coming up?
On the 25th, which is Thursdays. So I'm going to start going on my lives on Thursdays. So this Thursday, I have an old friend that has been with me before, and his name is Patrick Flattery. He is an astrologist. JJ, you've read with us before with Patrick.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, so him and I will be on 6:00 Eastern Standard Time, Thursday the 25th.
Nice.
Beautiful. And then things are the same thing. You can, I'm going to start Thursdays, but if I'm at the beach or I'm at, the lake, or I'm at somewhere and all of a sudden the light language hits me, I'm going to make it a point to upload it at that moment.
Good.
So
yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm hoping that when we are finished, we can figure out another time that we can do this.
Yeah, I'm so happy to come back to this.
Yeah, and yes, it is 6 p.m. Yep, and so beautiful. We will say farewell, everyone. Take care, and we will see you next time. Bye,
guys.
Thank you.